In the near future, a great war destroys the world. Now Earth is a post-apocalyptic wasteland known as the Lost Lands, and all that is left of humanity lives in a single city. They're ruled by the Overlord, and the church is in charge of keeping order. One day, a woman named Grey is getting hung for being a witch, and the enforcer is using her as an example of what happens to those who defy the church. After the enforcer leaves, Grey uses her magic to make a soldier hallucinate that he's the one being hung. He shoots the rope to supposedly save himself and ends up freeing Grey. He then thinks he sees her next to him and opens fire, only to kill another soldier instead. When the enforcer learns about this, she kills the bewitched soldier and leads the others on a search for Grey. While the group looks around the room, Grey hides in the shadows to kill soldiers one by one until only the enforcer is left. Grey manages to corner her by threatening her with a knife, and the enforcer tells her to do it, but instead of giving her a quick death, Grey chooses to hang her. As she walks away, the crowd parts for her and calls her the witch that will not hang. Meanwhile, Boyce is wandering alone on his horse but stops at a tunnel because he can tell he's about to be ambushed. When he says this aloud, a group of men come out of hiding and one of them tries to steal Boyce's gun. However, there's a two-headed snake attached to it that immediately kills him. Then Boyce closes his hands to make guns appear and quickly kills the entire gang before they can lay a finger on him. Before leaving, he makes sure to pick up his snake. Back to Grey, she finds shelter in a tower and leaves some money for a blind woman, who recognizes her because of her kindness. Later they're visited by the Queen and Jarais, the captain of the Overwatch. The Queen wants to buy the power to shapeshift into a wolf and pays with some fancy jewelry. Grey never refuses anybody and takes the job, explaining she'll hire a hunter to kill a shapeshifter and take their power. Her deadline will be the next full moon, which is happening in 6 days. While Grey gets her blades ready to leave, Jarais tries to buy a wish too. He wants Grey to fail the Queen. He swears he's loyal to her, but he thinks getting this power will destroy her. Grey doesn't believe him and thinks he's just jealous, but since she refuses nobody, she takes his timepiece as payment. Afterward, Grey uses a spell to look at the Lost Lands and find what she needs. She watches how a group of men tries to fight a huge wolf, but they're all killed in seconds. In the meantime, the Overlord is in bed and asks the Queen for help because he's wetted himself again. The Queen calls the maids while insulting her husband, clearly tired of having to deal with him. Moments later, she's kissing Boyce as it's revealed they're having an affair. When Boyce tries to sneak out of the castle, he's stopped by the guards, so he spits the alcohol he's drinking at a torch to light a guard on fire. Then he kicks the other one to throw him down the stairs. Later at a bar, Grey approaches Boyce and tries to hire his hunter services since he's known for his knowledge of the Lost Lands. Boyce only wants to gamble, so Grey plays against him and easily wins in the first round. He's still hesitant to accept her mission because most people can't survive the Lost Lands, so Grey tells him that if she ever slows him down, he has her permission to leave her behind. Then Boyce tells her about a great wolf who lives in a place called Skull River. Grey realizes that the name matches her vision and promises to pay Boyce with the timepiece if he takes her there. At that moment, a bunch of soldiers enter the bar and one of them opens fire from above, but Boyce throws the snake at him to quickly kill him. The body falls and the snake jumps on another soldier's arm, so his partner chops the limb off and the snake gets away. The enforcer then joins the fight and uses her knife to quickly kill the snake. When she turns around, Grey and Boyce are already gone. At the church, the patriarch reminds everyone that witches and heretics must be brought to justice. The crowd pretends to be praying while secretly passing around a note about a rebel movement. After Mass, it's revealed that the patriarch knows about the note and he notices Grey has become the symbol of the rebellion. The enforcer brings the blind woman and steps on her hand until she explains that Jarais and the Queen visited Grey. The patriarch orders the enforcer to find Grey and make her confess she's been manipulating their leaders before hanging her. In the Lost Lands, Grey and Boyce are camping for the night. Boyce tries to catch a new snake but can't find one that pleases him. While Grey is trying to sleep, Boyce approaches her with his blade, so she stops him with her knife. However, he's there to kill the scorpion that was about to sting her. The next day, the duo makes it to a trading post handled by siblings Mara and Ross, who are old friends of Boyce's. Mara kisses Boyce before the duo is invited inside. Boyce explains they'll find the shapeshifter in a week and Grey explains she needs it in a few days, so Boyce decides they'll take a very dangerous shortcut. That night, Boyce and Mara get naughty and lament that they only see each other once a year. When the duo leaves in the morning, Boyce warns Mara that the siblings are the only friendly faces in the Lost Lands, and Grey notices a beast skeleton in a cage. Meanwhile, the enforcer and all her soldiers have started searching the Lost Lands by train. The Queen goes to see the patriarch since he authorized the use of the train without consulting her, not to mention he sent all the soldiers away and left the city vulnerable. The patriarch says he's heard rumors of her betrayal, but the Queen assures him it's all lies. Later, the patriarch calls the enforcer on the train and tells her he's confirmed the Queen is lying, so they need to catch the witch quickly. If they arrest the Queen for betrayal and the sick Overlord dies soon, the patriarch can take control of the city. Sometime later, the soldiers find Ross and Mara and torture them until Mara confesses that Grey and Boyce are going to Skull River. Before leaving, they kill the siblings and burn down their trading post. The next day, Grey and Boyce reach the Rift, a city in ruins full of chasms. They enter an old building with a cable car and Boyce looks for the driver, who will give anybody a ride for money. The man doesn't answer when Boyce calls his name, so the duo starts searching the building. Sadly, they discover that the driver has been hung, which means the soldiers got here first. When the duo tries to leave, the enforcer and her men surround them. They're willing to let Boyce go if he gives them Gray and show Mara's body as proof they're serious. At that moment Mara wakes up and says Boyce's name, so the enforcer shoots her to kill her for good. Boyce gets furious and opens fire while Gray slides ahead to strike a soldier down and steal his guns. She also opens fire, and by working together, she and Boyce quickly kill all the men surrounding them. Unfortunately, there's a horde of soldiers hiding on the train and now they come out to join the fight. Boyce and Gray continue to fight and kill as many men as possible, but the soldiers just keep coming and their numbers are unmanageable, not to mention Gray runs out of bullets. The duo tries to run away, however the train has a cannon that shoots at them. Luckily they move fast enough to only fall without getting hurt, then they rush toward the cable car and Boyce releases it by shooting the reel. The soldiers are still trying to come for them, so Gray and Boyce start fighting them hand to hand to keep them away from the car. Since it's now moving over a huge chasm, the soldiers fall to their deaths from great heights. Some men appear on the car roof and Gray immediately climbs up to fight them with her blades. She moves fast to defeat most of them and makes a big jump on the edge of the car to force the last guy to follow her. Now she can just chop his hand off to make him fall. Inside the car, Boyce also fights hand to hand with a few remaining soldiers. Seeing her men being defeated, the enforcer makes a soldier cut the cables. The car now hangs on a side and Gray has to use her blades to hold on. Boyce breaks a window to make another soldier fall. Then the enforcer shoots the other cable and the car goes down, sliding through a building before crashing against the side of a chasm. Gray and Boyce begin climbing the rocky wall and manage to leave the car right before it falls. The enforcer opens fire and hits Boyce's shoulder while he's still climbing, but Gray has already reached the top and uses her powers to keep the enforcer distracted, which allows the duo to disappear. That night Boyce removes the bullet from the wound and Gray stitches it up. Boyce thinks about his lost friends and swears to get revenge on the enforcer. Before they fall asleep, they watch the colors and lightning in the sky. The next day the queen learns that she's pregnant. She knows the father is Boyce but pretends it's the Overlord. Now that she has an heir to secure the throne, she puts a pillow on the Overlord's face and suffocates him to death. Meanwhile Gray and Boyce reach Shadow's Bane, an area that fills with demons at night. However, they can hear the enforcer's train coming for them, so they have no choice but to stay here. They hide inside a cooling tower and destroy a bunch of cans to spill gas on the ground. When night falls, the lights in the tower are turned on and a demon tries to attack them. Boyce throws a lighter on the gas to create a ring of fire that surrounds him and Gray. Soon more demons enter the tower and the duo has to open fire, but their bullets don't do much. The demons bring a metal plank and put it on top of the fire to create a bridge, so Boyce blocks them by kicking a gas can and shooting it. A demon jumps as the can explodes and tackles Boyce to attack him, but Gray pulls him back by stabbing it with her blades. When the demon twists his body to try to catch her, Gray has to jump and fight it hand to hand. Boyce tackles the creature and impales it on a metal rod while Gray throws a blade at another gas tank. This time the explosion is bigger and gets the attention of the demon leader, who is watching from the top of the tower with its minions. They jump down and tackle both humans while the leader calls Gray by name, saying she shouldn't have come back to this place. Gray uses magic to make him move back and shoots fire from her hand, controlling the whole flame circle to make it grow into a huge fire tornado that burns all the demons down, including the leader. Afterward Boyce points out he couldn't feel the flames, so Gray explains it wasn't real. She used an illusion to make the demons think they were on fire and they died of a placebo effect. She reveals there's a big treasure full of power hidden there and many years ago a man hired her to steal it. However, this place is so corrupted that it transformed the man and his minions into the demons they encountered. The next day the patriarch announces that the Overlord is dead but the queen is pregnant, so the baby shall be the new Overlord. The citizens don't react, so Jirai shoots a bullet in the air to make the crowd chant in favor of the queen and her child. Afterward the patriarch bends the knee to the queen, promising to advise her well. However, in private he insults her and calls the enforcer to tell her to hurry. The queen is also making plans and kisses Jirai to manipulate him, hoping to use his army for her personal goals. Boyce and Gray arrive at the fire fields and Boyce announces they'll reach their destination the next day. Fighting the Shapeshifter will be dangerous, so Gray thinks Boyce should take his payment and leave. He refuses and asks her to come back with him, but she can't because a curse forces her to take on every mission. The following day Boyce and Gray are crossing a tunnel when they hear the train approaching. Since they can't outrun it, they make a plan. Gray stands on the rails and waits for the train to be close enough before she starts running. The enforcer immediately makes the train chase after her, not realizing it's a trap. Gray guides it to a broken rail and jumps at the last second so Boyce can catch her. The train can't stop and falls into the abyss, causing an explosion that kills the enforcer and all her men. When the patriarch learns about this he tries to assemble his guard to take the throne by force. However, Jirai and his army suddenly surround him to kill and his remaining soldiers, leaving the queen as the only leader in the city. Afterward Jirai and the queen celebrate by getting naughty. The next day Gray and Boyce arrive at the Skull River, an area covered in the bones of the wolf's victims. They search an old building and find signs someone is living there, but not a person in sight. Boyce tells Gray they should go back, but Gray wants to finish her mission. When night falls, Gray covers her fingers with silver claws and heads outside. Boyce again tries to stop her, but it's too late. The full moon is out and causing him to transform. It turns out he was the shapeshifter all along, and Gray thinks he agreed to guide her to bring her here and kill her. Boyce's body grows in size and his clothes are destroyed as he finishes becoming a huge wolf. Gray throws the timepiece at him before she starts fighting him with the silver claws, but Boyce is clearly stronger and easily throws her around. Then Gray creates an illusion that sends a bunch of birds after him, allowing her to hide. When Boyce jumps to attack the big bird, the illusion ends and reveals Gray stabbing him with the claws. Boyce tries to defend himself, but he's now too weak, and after a few more hits, Gray brings him down. He raises his arms in a last effort when Gray moves to land the final blow. Seconds later Boyce wakes up covered in scars. Gray is giving him water and telling him to rest. Boyce falls asleep, and the next time he wakes up he finds himself in chains. It's revealed that when Gray gave him stitches she hid some silver under his skin, which has been poisoning him all along. When she gets ready to kill him, Boyce says he has a wish and reminds her she can't refuse anyone. He wants them to be together and hunt together to end their loneliness. Gray agrees while pointing out there's a price. At that moment the clouds move and the moon forces Boyce to transform again, so Gray starts cutting his chest open. The next morning Gray drops the timepiece on Boyce's grave and leaves with his pelt. When she enters the city, the slaves chant her name and some guards try to calm them down to no avail. Soon the church's giant cross is brought down by the rebels. Gray gives the pelt to Jarais with instructions for the queen to gain its power. When Jarais points out she failed his mission, Gray explains she's killed the queen's lover and now Jarais can have her, which is his real wish. Later the queen has a breakdown when she realizes the skin belongs to a dead Boyce. Her goal had always been to become a beast to be with him, but Jarais points out Boyce corrupted her. The queen realizes he's betrayed her and takes a hairpin to stab Jarais in the neck, killing him. The rebels use this chance to burst into the castle and kill all the guards, whose bullets can't do anything against such a huge amount of people. When the sun rises, it burns the pelt until there's nothing but ashes. At the same time Boyce's grave starts shaking. Sometime later a revived Boyce finds Gray with the intention to kill her, however Gray confesses she's always known he was the queen's lover. She planned everything so the rebels could finally defeat their oppressors and Boyce would survive in the end. Boyce tries to shoot anyway but his gun fails, so he attacks with a knife instead. Gray dodges it and they end up stuck with their blades on each other's necks. When Gray reminds him this is what he wished for, Boyce agrees and now the duo leaves together to travel through the Lost Lands. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.